All right, what's up, boys? Friday night, 9-game slate. Charlotte gonna be the focal point of tonight's slate. We are definitely we're gonna be talking about a lot of Hornets. We got some big injury news from Charlotte earlier today. So Charlotte was already like really shorthanded. They got a ton of guys out right now, and then we got word that PJ Washington is doubtful. So PJ Washington not expected to play. After we got that news, I was expecting Nick Richards to be a really good value play. Nick Richards would probably start at center, play a lot of minutes without PJ Washington, and now he is out too. So, man, like these Charlotte guys, this is where we kind of have to start off with. You're going to have to look to some of these Charlotte guys today. Kelly Oubre, Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, Cody Martin, like these guys might all play 40 minutes. So, I feel like if you're building lineups with no Charlotte exposure, you're probably doing it wrong. I think you're going to want to have some exposure to the Hornets. And then value-wise, it's a little risky just because, Vernon Carey, we haven't even seen him in the rotation. We haven't seen Kai Jones in the rotation. But I'm assuming one of these guys plays with Washington and Richards out. For now, I'm expecting Vernon Carey to start at center. So I think, he's going to be a decent value play. I think his minutes are a little, they're not secure. I think we could see them play Miles Bridges at center. They could go small. They could play JT Thor at center. JT Thor has actually been pretty consistently in the rotation. Like he's been getting decent minutes off the bench lately. He probably plays a lot more. But man, like Charlotte, like they're just playing these guys so many freaking minutes right now that you almost have to look to these guys, even though they're kind of expensive. Like these Oubre, like they're going to play 40 minutes, and it's a great matchup too against the Kings. It's a fast-paced game. I definitely like these Charlotte guys for sure. I would probably be capping at like 3 or 4. I don't think I'd be playing more than 4 Hornets in my lineup, but you got to probably make at least I don't know. You probably got to make every lineup have at least 1 or 2 Hornets because it's hard to get away from it's hard to fully fade this team with how much these guys are playing right now. And then on the Sacramento side, like on DraftKings, there's definitely some good plays I like here too. So this game in general is going to be a just chalk fest. I mean, there's going to be so much ownership on this game. Okay, we just get where PJ Washington's officially out. Okay, well he was doubtful, so I wouldn't expect him to play. All right, so here are the Hornets' available players: Gordon Hayward, Cody Martin, Kelly Oubre, JT Thor, Miles Bridges, James Bouknight, Kai Jones, Vernon Carey, Scotty Lewis, and then I don't know how to say this other guy's name, but they do have 10 available players. Now, do those 10 guys all see the floor? Probably not. My best guess is that they run an 8-man rotation with Hayward, Martin, Oubre, Thor, Bridges, Bouknight, whoever, Carey, and then maybe Kai Jones. Like, I don't think Scotty Lewis gets minutes. I don't think this other guy gets minutes. I mean, they only have 10 players, and they're probably not even going to play all 10. So, yeah, feel free to just, load up on the Hornets today. I mean, it's really hard not to. And if you look at, any projection site, all the top point per dollar plays are coming from Charlotte. You like Terrence Davis tonight? I think Terrence Davis is in play. I want to make sure that he's starting first. So Mo Harkless did not play last game. He was active, but he didn't play. I think there's a chance that they do give Mo Harkless minutes tonight, and if Mo Harkless winds up starting over Terrence Davis, then I would definitely be worried about Terrence Davis. Just make sure Terrence Davis is starting before you play him. That's what I would say. If he starts, though, he's pretty decent value. What's up, Bill? What's up, my man? Any interest in Hayward tonight? Yeah, Gordon Hayward's a great play. I mean, all these Charlotte guys are really good plays. You know, they're going to be really popular. Can you fade some of them? I think you can, but it's really hard to just... You can't full fade Charlotte tonight. You're going to have to place one of these guys, I think. It's really unlikely that, you know, if this game stays close and these guys play their full minutes, it's really unlikely that none of these Hornets do well. So you're going to want to have some exposure, I would think. Top pay-up stud. For pay-ups today, like, there's not a ton that I love. I think Trae Young at 10K looks pretty appealing. I definitely like Trae on this slate, and I normally don't ever play Trae, but I do like Trae today. I think Giannis, you know, obviously blowout's a concern there, but 10-9 is really cheap for Giannis. Like, he should never be that cheap. So I definitely like Giannis. I think now that D'Angelo Russell's doubtful, you know, Karl-Anthony Towns looks a little bit better. And then obviously, you know, we got this news with Anthony Davis questionable, so that's another thing we're going to have to keep an eye on. If Anthony Davis gets ruled out, then, you know, love LeBron. Russell Westbrook would be a good play too. So if we knew Anthony Davis was out, I think LeBron would be my favorite stud, but we just don't have that news right now. Halliburton and Terrence Davis, or Cody Martin and Duarte. If Terrence Davis is starting, I would take Terrence Davis and Halliburton. But if Terrence Davis doesn't start, I would be pretty scared to go there. I'll just say that. So if he doesn't start, I would maybe switch to the other one. Alex Len or Tristan Thompson. I think I'd take Alex Len since he's starting. We did get word that he's going to start at center. My best guess is you get like 22 minutes for Alex Len, 20 minutes for Tristan Thompson, and then, you know, maybe Marvin Bagley plays some center minutes. So I would say Alex Len's just the better play. He projects better since he's the starter. What's up, my DFS brother? Appreciate your hard work. Let's get paid tonight. Hey, let's get it, T-Man. Let's get it, my man. Giannis fade. I mean, I don't even think fading Giannis is like a hot take. I mean, Giannis is not getting a ton of ownership right now, so it's not like Giannis is going to be massive chalk. So even if you fade him, it's not like you're taking a huge risk, I would say. Giannis, Luka, or Harden? I would take Giannis there. What's good, Noah? Appreciate you. Hey, Jack, appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you being here. J-Val or SGA? Give me J-Val. Don't forget to smash the like button. Yes, sir. Smash the like button, fellas. I appreciate all you guys being here as always. Please do hit the like button when you come in the door. And if you have questions for tonight, you know, you can start throwing those in chat. We're going to answer questions for like 25, 30 minutes. And if we get any news during the stream, we can, you know, touch on that too. We're still waiting on Anthony Davis questionable. That's probably the biggest news right now that we're waiting on. And we want to see who starts for Charlotte, because that's pretty important too. Any interest in OKC, guys? I think SGA is a pretty decent play today. Outside of SGA, that's probably it for me from OKC. Like, I don't think I'd be playing any other Thunder on this slate, personally. LeBron, Trae, or Towns? For now, I'll say Trae, but if we do get word Anthony Davis is out, I would play LeBron over Trae. Any interest in Armani Brooks? If he starts again, I think he's in play. He's not like a slam dunk value or anything, but you know, he did start last game and he played 30 minutes, so I think Armani Brooks would be a decent value if he does start again. Not saying it's a good idea, but if you want to be different, fade the Charlotte game. I mean, that's a good way to be different, but that's also a good way to just, you know, I don't know if that's really a winning strategy, I would say. Like, you could definitely, you don't have to fade that game to be different. You can still play some guys in that game and then just get different elsewhere. And it's really hard to just full fade that game just because of how much, especially on the Charlotte side, how many good plays there are on the Hornets today. Were you starting on Yahoo? No Sacramento Charlotte? Yeah, I don't know what Yahoo's doing, man. So the Sacramento Charlotte game and the Dallas Indiana game is not on the Yahoo main slate. So for Yahoo, like, you know, kind of the guys we just talked about, like Trae Young, I like a lot on Yahoo. There's not a ton of value on Yahoo today, especially because you're not getting any, you know, you're not getting that game with, you know, that game also has a lot of value and it's not on the main slate for Yahoo. But if you are looking for like value on Yahoo, you know, you got like THT, who would obviously be a decent play if AD's out. You've got Malik Beasley, who should play more without D'Angelo Russell. Kevin Huerter, Eric Gordon. I really like Chris Boucher as a value now that Precious Achiuwa is out. And then you could definitely go to like JaVale McGee. So we're still waiting for news on DeAndre Ayton. He's questionable. If DeAndre Ayton gets ruled out, JaVale McGee would be a really good value. But it's really scary to put JaVale McGee in your lineup, because if you put McGee in your lineup and then Ayton winds up playing, you're kind of screwed, because there's no other, that's the only 10 o'clock game tonight is the Boston Phoenix. So basically, if you play JaVale McGee and Ayton winds up playing, you're probably just going to have to stick with JaVale McGee. I don't think there's anyone you could swap to. Let me see. Because McGee, he's 3,400. Yeah, you would have to swap to like Grant Williams or just keep McGee in there. But if we do find out that Ayton's out, then yeah, I really like JaVale McGee as a value. SGA, JVal, or CP3? Give me JVal. Well, yeah, I would assume if anyone else were to get ruled out from Charlotte, we would know that before lock. But it does seem like there's sort of some sort of outbreak going on right now, because all these guys are out for illness. So there must a lot of these guys must be sick. You prefer paying up for shooting guard on Yahoo with Ingram or going mid range with Dort? I would say Ingram and Cade Cunningham, I think, are my two favorite shooting guards on Yahoo. So I guess pay up for Ingram. God, I just never played Dort. And I know that's kind of, he's been doing well lately, but man, I just never played Dort. Ingram, Van Vliet, or Edwards? Give me Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards should be really low owned in tournaments. Without D'Angelo Russell, I think Anthony Edwards is a decent, tournament play. It's a tough matchup. Cleveland's been really good defensively this year, but he should get a lot of usage, a lot of opportunities to shoot at least. Definitely like him in tournaments. Do you like an Ingram and JVal stack? I think you can do that on Yahoo. On DraftKings, I probably wouldn't be doing that, but yeah, like on Yahoo, it's really hard to like not look at those guys, because Ingram is too cheap, and so is JVal, in my opinion. Duarte, Oubre, Hayward, Bridges, Thompson, Cody Martin, Harrison Barnes, JoVal. I think that's solid, Bill. Again, now that Alex Lynn's starting, I would probably take Alex Lynn over Tristan Thompson, but I still think Thompson's fine. Cam Reddish love? Not really. Like Cam Reddish is going to come off the bench, probably play like low to mid 20s minutes. I don't think I'd be going there on this slate personally. Bagley or Tristan Thompson? Probably Tristan Thompson, just because I think his minutes are a little more secure. But I think those two guys project pretty closely. Any Chris Boucher? I think Boucher's definitely in play. Now that he's going to start again. We saw Boucher start last game, and he only played like 22 minutes. But man, Boucher's just such a good point per minute player that even if he plays 22 minutes again, which is like, not good, he still would probably do well. I mean, last game, Boucher played 22 minutes, and I think he averaged like a fantasy point per minute. Yeah, he had 23 DK points in 22 minutes. And, Boucher could play 28 minutes if he's playing really well. Like, we've seen Boucher can just go out there and break slates when he gets minutes. So, he's definitely a guy that I do like as a value. He offers a lot of upside. There's a little risk there just because we've seen his minutes be, really, they can fluctuate. But I think he's a pretty good value. Thoughts on Garrison Matthews? Garrison Matthews is just a guy that I never play. I just really question his ceiling because he's just, all he does is shoot. He doesn't do anything except shoot. So he's going to really have to get hot from the field to put up a decent game. He just, on a 9-game slate, I just don't think I'd be playing Garrison Matthews personally. We got a $20 super chat from a man, Mark. Hey, Noah, as usual, thanks for the insight and the prize picks. Let's get it tonight, everyone. Mark, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all your support to the channel. Mark's a long time Patreon member as well. Always been supporting the channel, always super chatting. Mark's a legend. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the $20 super chat. We could have had a 5 for 5 night on prize picks last night. So I give out usually 6 picks each day on prize picks for Patreon members. And one of the picks was Dylan Brooks. So, that got voided. He didn't play. And then the other one was over on Anthony Davis points. And he needed one more point. So we went 4 for 5 on prize picks last night. Should have went 5 for 5 if AD could have got us another point. Brutal. Favorite Hornet? Man, I don't know. I would say probably Gordon Hayward. Just because I think Gordon Hayward, he can kind of, I don't want to say stuff the stat sheet, but Gordon Hayward can do a little bit of everything. He can score, he can get rebounds, and get assists. But Miles Bridges, I think, is a really good play too. I still think Kelly Oubre is a little riskier, just because Kelly Oubre is kind of scoring dependent. But he's taking so many freaking shots that, even if he doesn't shoot the ball that well, he can still do decent just because he's shooting the ball so freaking much. But I would say Bridges and Hayward, and then probably Cody Martin are my favorite Hornets. And then we'll have to wait and see who starts. If Vernon Carey starts, I think he will be a decent value play. I just think there is a little bit of risk there. Any interest in Hart or Brooks? I think Josh Hart's a pretty solid play. I think Armani Brooks, if he starts again, is viable too. 8 now questionable. Kaminsky's still out. McGee might be a good value play. Absolutely. Yeah, if we do get word that Ayton's out, McGee's going to be a strong value. It's just, that's the last game of the night, and who knows when we're going to get that news. So, it's kind of it's a risky stance to take if you do play JaVale McGee right now. Harden, LeBron, or Tatum. If we know that AD's out, I would play LeBron. I'll say Tatum for now, but if we do find out AD's out, I would say LeBron. You like anybody in the late night hammer? It's kind of meh. Appreciate the grind, my man. I mean, yeah, JaVale McGee. Like, if Ayton gets ruled out, JaVale McGee would be a really good play. But again, we just don't know right now. But I think like Dennis Schroeder is viable. He's questionable too, but I expect he will play. I think Chris Paul's viable. I think Tatum's in play. But JaVale McGee, if Ayton were to be out, would for sure be my favorite play in that game. Thoughts on Rubio? Not much interest in Ricky Rubio. Like on this slate, I just don't think I'm going to play Rubio. I mean, he's coming off the bench. He's going to play like 25, 30 minutes. Just doesn't really stand out to me, honestly. Christian Wood or SGA on Yahoo? Give me SGA, but that's a really close one, Nicholas. Schroeder, Ingram, SGA, Gordon, Grant, Hart, J-Val, Herter. I think that's solid, Brandon. I think that's solid. Miles Bridges or J-Val? I'll say Miles Bridges, but that's another really close one. Bro, there's a freaking gnat that's like flying around in front of me. It's pissing me off. Cade Cunningham on Yahoo. Yeah, I think Cade Cunningham is for sure in play. He's like, I think he's $27 on Yahoo. I like him a decent amount there. Him and Brandon Ingram are for sure like my 2 favorite shooting guards on Yahoo. If you had to start your DK lineup with 1 Hornet, 1 King, those are the only 2 guys you take from this team. Which 2 guys would you 2s? For the Hornets, it would probably be either Hayward or Bridges. Man, like I just don't have a strong lean between the 2. So one of those 2, and then on the King side, I think Harrison Barnes is probably too cheap on DraftKings. Like he might be my favorite King. So I guess if I had to go with that strategy, I would probably play Harrison Barnes as my 1 King, and then, either Hayward or Bridges as my Hornet, I guess. Any Herbert Jones love? Not really, T-Man. Like Herbert Jones just, he's going to get minutes, but he just doesn't really produce that much when he's on the court. He's mostly just out there for his defense. So I do question like his upside. He's just one of those guys that I really never play, I'll be honest with you. And I'm pretty sure he had a good game last game, but I don't really want to chase that. Josh Hart, Eric Gordon, or Harrison Barnes? Give me Harrison Barnes. Halliburton, Trent Jr., or Smart? Give me Tyrese Halliburton. Favorite Cleveland player tonight? Probably would be Jared Allen if I had to play anyone on Cleveland. Yeah, I think Allen, Mobley, Darius Garland, like they're all tournament plays, but there's no like core options or standout plays coming from Cleveland, in my opinion. Brogdon, Davis, Bridges, Boucher, Stewart, Oubre, Hayward, and Martin. I think that's fine. Keep an eye on the Terrence Davis, like if he's starting, because if he's not, I would be a little hesitant to go there. But I think that's still fine. Just make sure Terrence Davis is starting. Jared Allen or Oubre, utility spot, have 3 Hornets already. If you have 3 Hornets already, then I would probably just play Jared Allen in that scenario. Let's go Friday. Always win on Fridays. Hey, Dirty Dan, let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it going. Any Hart or Graham? I mean, I think Josh Hart's definitely in play. Devontae Graham I'm not as interested in, but I definitely have interest in Josh Hart. I mean, Josh Hart, his first game back from injury, he played like a ton of minutes. So he should play a ton of minutes once again tonight. Favorite shooting guard other than Ingram it's got to be Cade Cunningham on Yahoo, that is. Love your stuff, bro. You to go. Any love for Duarte? I think Duarte's fine. The Pacers are a team I don't really have a ton of interest in general. But with TJ McConnell still out, with Justin Holiday still out, like Duarte's going to play a lot if the game's close. He's going to get like probably low to mid 30s minutes. 4,400, I think he's priced probably where he should be. I know he's had back-to-back good games. I don't know if I really want to chase that though, but I still think Duarte's in play for value. I wouldn't consider him like a top value though, at least not in my opinion. It's freaking gnat. I got him. I think I got him. 4,200 util on DK. Let's see. I know Terrence Davis is 4K, so if Terrence Davis were to start, like Terrence Davis would probably be the guy to take there. Yes, Terrence Davis is 4K. If he starts, I'd probably take him. If he doesn't start, then you could play like Armani Brooks or Chris Boucher. I'll say Terrence Davis if he starts. If he doesn't, Chris Boucher will be my next guy. Guard 4K and below on DK, yeah, Terrence Davis if he starts. Thoughts on Marcus Smart since Schroeder's questionable? I think Marcus Smart would get a bump. What is Smart's price on DK? So like, I guess so if you wanted to, like I think Schroeder's a pretty decent play, and if Schroeder doesn't play, you could just swap to Marcus Smart because Marcus Smart's on DraftKings $500 cheaper. And I think Marcus Smart, he would get a lot of point guard opportunities. His assist numbers would definitely go up if Schroeder's out. I want to see what so like lately he's been averaging, around like 5-6 assists per game. I want to see what his assist prop is on Prize Picks. Because I really think if Schroeder doesn't play, like Marcus Smart, his assist would be really good. Yeah, he's projected for 5.5 assists. I would definitely like the over there if Schroeder doesn't play. I mean, he's gone over this in 3 of his last 5, and that's with Schroeder playing. So yeah, you could play Schroeder because I think Schroeder's a good play, and then if he doesn't play, you could just swap to Smart. Worst case scenario, I guess. What does Lynn starting do to Tristan Thompson? With Lynn starting, I'm just a little bit more confident that his minutes are higher than Thompson's. Like my best guess is that Lynn plays like 22, 24 minutes, Thompson plays like 20, 22, and then you probably see Marvin Bagley play a little bit at center. That's no guarantee. That's just a guess. Since Lynn's starting, he's my preferred of the 2 centers. But yeah, I mean, I still think you could play Tristan Thompson. He's just, not as good of a play now that he's coming off the bench. Yeah, T-Bone, I would definitely be okay with that. Schroeder, on Yahoo, Schroeder's $23, and so is Marcus Smart. So, yeah, that's an easy swap you can make. If Schroeder doesn't play, you just swap to Marcus Smart. Is it dumb that I'm only playing one player from Sacramento game? I'll be honest, man, like I feel like a lot of the best plays on the slate are coming from that game. So you're going to be, you're taking a big risk there. But obviously, things could go south. Like it could be a blowout. You never know what could happen. But I would be very surprised if like nobody from Charlotte does well tonight. Like there's going to be so many minutes available for these guys that like somebody's got to do well, even though they're priced up. De'Aaron Fox, I think De'Aaron Fox is a decent mid-range option for sure. He's going to get no ownership on this slate. It's a good matchup against Charlotte. If you are playing 2 or 3 or even 4 Hornets, like you probably want to run it back with someone on the Kings side. I think Fox is someone you can definitely play in tournaments. Thoughts on Herter or Gallinari on Yahoo? Love your show. Thanks for all your content. Hey, Joseph, appreciate that, man. Herter or Gallo? Between the 2, I would rather play Herter. Just because without Bogdan, without DeAndre Hunter, like they're just going to play Kevin Herter a lot of minutes. And I know that, Cam Reddish is back, but I don't think that affects Kevin Herter too much. Like Kevin Herter's still going to play a lot. So I would probably take him straight up. Anthony Edwards and Drew Holiday or Jason Tatum and Gary Trent? Give me Tatum and Trent. Naz Reid. I'm not really on Naz Reid. The only time I ever consider Naz Reid is when Cat's out. Like I've played Naz Reid once this season, and it was the one game that Cat was out. So yeah, whenever Cat plays, I just never play Naz Reid. Evan Mobley or Jeremy Grant? Give me Evan Mobley. Favorite pay up? I mean, I think Trae Young's in a good spot. I think LeBron, if Anthony Davis gets ruled out, would be a really good pay up option. I still like Giannis quite a bit. So I guess like those 3 guys would be my favorites. But I don't really have a strong stance when it comes to the studs tonight. Like there's plenty of studs that are viable. There's nobody that stands out like head and shoulders above the rest. I think if AD were to be ruled out, then I think, yeah, LeBron would probably stand out a little bit more than every other guy, but still don't think he'd be like a must play or anything. Any Sabonis? Yeah, I'm just not really on Sabonis. Like he's at his price point, I mean, he's almost 10K right now. Like you need 55, 60 DK points from Sabonis to be worth this price, and it's just, at this point, he's just not a guy you really play at 9,700. He had that massive game whenever Miles Turner was out, but like so far this year, Sabonis has not been the same guy that we've seen in the past. Like he's shown a pretty low floor, which is not usual for him. Just not a guy that I'm going to pay 9,700 for on a 9-game slate. Grant and or Grant and play Cam Reddish tonight. Cam Reddish, I'm not that interested in. You know, Jeremy Grant I think's fine, but like Cam Reddish coming off the bench, I don't really know how many minutes he gets if he plays enough to be worth rostering. I'll say that. J-Val or Ingram on Yahoo. I would probably take J-Val just straight up. McGee or Lynn straight up as if Ayton was out right now. If we knew Ayton was out, JaVale McGee would be my favorite value play, but we just don't have that news right now, so it's risky. But I would definitely take McGee over Lynn if we knew that Ayton was out. And what sucks is that, you know, we might not get news on Ayton until after all the other games have started. So, you know, if you wind up playing McGee and then Ayton plays, you're kind of stuck with McGee. You can't really swap to anyone else. Lynn is frustrating, gets benched a lot by either foul trouble or pissing off the coach. Point is that Tristan Thompson is probably the safer play in my opinion. I mean, I don't think any of those guys are safe, but I think they do offer a ceiling if, you know, things go their way and they get like 25, 26 minutes. I mean, Tristan Thompson, he played like 20 minutes last game and he had like 30 DK points. So I think, you know, if you do get like 25, 26 minutes from either one of Lynn or Thompson, they're pretty likely to do well. It's just, you know, does that happen? I have no idea. We've seen that like they're totally fine just running out like Marvin Bagley at center. They might even play Harrison Barnes at center if this game goes small, which is totally possible. Like I could definitely see the closing lineup being Harrison Barnes at center versus, you know, Miles Bridges at center. Like they could totally do that in this game. Randle worth the pay up. On DraftKings, I'm not really on Julius Randle. I think on Yahoo, Julius Randle's in play just because he's a little bit cheaper there. But man, like on DK, I'm not that interested in Julius Randle. Between Reddish and Herbert Jones, I think I would take Herbert Jones over Reddish, but that's, you know, I don't have a strong stance there. Edwards or Hayward? Give me Gordon Hayward straight up. But if you're playing like tournaments, like, I mean, Anthony Edwards is going to be so low owned compared to Hayward. I mean, Hayward's projected for 41% ownership right now, and Anthony Edwards is projected for like 5%. So, I mean, that's in tournaments, like Anthony Edwards is probably the better play. But I think, you know, cash games, point per dollar wise, Hayward's the better play. Alexander Walker or Duarte? Give me Duarte if I had to pick one of the two. Bridges or Barnes? I mean, Miles Bridges if you have the salary. Is 2 Hornets too small? I mean, 2 Hornets is fine. I feel like you're probably going to want at least one guy from Charlotte. Like I said earlier, I'd be really surprised if the winning GPP lineup tonight has no Hornets in it. But I don't think you need to load up on Charlotte either. Like I think playing 2 or 3 is probably the they'll probably do with Nick Richards. They always start a big man and go smaller. I mean, yeah, you could say that, Brandon, but like, so the reason, because, you know, when they did that, they would start Nick Richards and then they would just play PJ Washington. Well, now PJ Washington's not available, so who are they going to turn to if they do that? So like, let's say Vernon Carey only plays like 15 minutes. Do they just? I'm guessing they would play like JT Thor a lot in that scenario. Because so far this year, or at least these last few games, like Charlotte, they've been running an 8-man rotation. And the only guys that have been playing are scratch that. Oubre, Bridges, Hayward, PJ Washington, Cody Martin, Nick Richards, JT Thor, and Boot Knight. Like, those are the 8 guys that have been getting minutes. You take out Richards, you take out Washington, you're adding Vernon Carey. So then they got to play somebody else. Like, they're not going to run a 7-man rotation. So I'm assuming that we see, like, one of these other bigs get minutes. But, God, like, this is just total guessing game. What we do know is that Kelly Oubre, Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, and Cody Martin are going to play a shit ton of minutes. That's what we do know, which makes them very, very good plays. Vernon Carey, on the other hand, not as, don't feel as good about his minutes, but he's in play because he's freaking, minimum salary. What's Josh Richardson's price tag? Well, I guess you could do that, Mark. So if you do play JaVale McGee in your util and then you leave $100 on the table, you could swap to Josh Richardson, I guess. And Josh Richardson, like, if Dennis Schroeder gets ruled out, like, Josh Richardson would be a pretty good value too. So I guess you could do that. If you play McGee, leave $100 on the table, and then you could swap to Josh Richardson, especially if Schroeder were to be out. What's your thoughts on SGA tonight? I think SGA's a pretty fine play. I mean, good matchup against the Lakers. Lakers been playing really fast this year. I know SGA's done really well against the Lakers this season. If Anthony Davis gets ruled out, I think it makes a lot more likely that game stays close. So I think SGA is firmly in play. Lynn or Reddish, give me Alex Lynn. Carey or Thompson, I would probably go Vernon Carey, but not a strong stance there. But I would probably go Vernon Carey. Mikal Bridges or Barnes, give me Harrison Barnes. All right, boys, I think I'm out of here. We've been live for 30, 35 minutes. I appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you tuning in. Still waiting on Anthony Davis news. We just got word he's a game time decision, so who knows when we'll get that. But that's the big news we're waiting on. Be ready to make some changes to your lineups if AD gets ruled out. I think LeBron would be a really good pay-up option. I think Westbrook would be a fine tournament play. I think THT would definitely be viable. If Dwight Howard were to start, I think Dwight Howard would be a good value, and he would get no ownership. So yeah, you could definitely, probably want to make some changes if we do get word Anthony Davis is out. I think that's the only news we're still waiting on. Should be good to go though. All right, I think that's it, guys. 9-game slate. We're out of here. Best of luck. Enjoy your Friday night. See you, boys.